Welcome to the OT pregame show as we get you excited for a very important football matchup between the Northern Arizona Lumberjacks and the North Dakota Fighting Hawks. I'm Ryan Peretti, and I'm joined by Susie Conran. Susie, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to dive into this end-of-season matchup between two unique teams. Last year, this would have been a conference game, but this year, North Dakota is independent, so that's kind of interesting. It's
very interesting as they make their move to the Missouri Conference, but the Lumberjacks have had a rough season so far this year, going into this game on a 3-game losing streak. The 3-6 Jacks have dealt with injuries all season long, but it's still important to finish off the season strong. What would a win mean to this team today?
Well, Ryan, it's always good to finish strong, and with some players in different positions, if they perform well, they could even have a dual threat option heading into next season.
Well, we speak about quarterbacks, one of which NAU's Case Cookus has been off the field since the second game of the season, where he experienced some bad deja vu, breaking that same collarbone against the same Eastern Washington team. With Cookus out, it brought in backup Daniel Bridgegad.
Yeah, Bridgegad only played 6 games this season and threw over 1,300 yards and 9 touchdowns. He added something new that Cookus did not have, and that was a mobile game. But that became a problem when it resulted in a lower leg injury. That brought in a true freshman quarterback, Gino Campiotti.
Man, and that's a player that should have not even been in that situation. He was a third string for a reason. I mean, he's still just a boy. He's playing with grown men. Imagine being on freshman on varsity team. You don't play much. You're also to get experience with this big dogs. And then when you finally become an upperclassman, you're the team. You're that go-to guy. That situation that Campiotti was in was rushed when both quarterbacks went down with injuries.
The struggle of Campiotti, head coach Jerome Sowers had to bring in a 4th-string quarterback, wide receiver Brandon Porter. The quarterback, he made the transition to quarterback mid-game during the homecoming matchup against Cal Poly and got his first start as a QB against UC Davis 2 weeks ago. But it's not Porter's first time under center, right, Ryan? It
definitely is not. He was the quarterback back in his high school days at Oak Hills. He actually broke the school record of most passing yards in a season with 1,308. You see here his stats on NAU season. Gets 90 passing yards in 2 games, and those short 2 games, 2 touchdowns as well, being that mobile quarterback, 335 rushing yards. He is that dual threat player, as we have seen recently, of his change from wide receiver to quarterback, and his ability to play both positions saved Sowers in this tough situation. Now, Porter's change from quarterback to receiver created a domino effect with his other receiver roles. One in particular is Chancellor Brewington, who has a new position as the number 2 guy.
He was the 3rd option with 230 yards on the season and now has to change from the deep ball threat to being a slot receiver. Keep in mind, Brewington is tall but does not have that much weight behind him. He is now getting in between big middle linebackers, so hopefully this doesn't lead to yet another Lumberjack injury.
You make a good point there. Being in those trenches as a speedy receiver who is used to getting hit by secondary defense is a big change. And speaking of any injuries, there's been a lot of inactives on this depth chart throughout the season.
Yeah, let's take a look. Case Cookus injured first game of the year. Daniel Bridgegad, we've mentioned his leg injury. And starting cornerback Miles Dumas, who also only lasted 1 game. And multi-threat running back Nate Stinson, who went out against Missouri State. On the bright side, safety starter Wes Sutton had an immediate impact after missing his first few games.
And that brings us up to date. As we mentioned, the North Dakota game is the last one of the year, and that means the last game for seniors. Reported Mikhail Palladino spoke with some of the upperclassmen and what this game means to them.
With NAU football season coming to a close and senior night just minutes away, NAU seniors reflected on their time as Lumberjacks.
It's been a long one for sure, but it's felt real fast. I enjoyed it here, met a lot of great people. Maurice, that's kind of been my guy right there. We met when we got here, kind of clicked off instantly, and he's just made it fun here.
Being part of the NAU football family helped these men grow.
Learned a lot, about myself as a man and also on the football field. Met some wonderful people. Just been trying to grind and get better on and off the field. Put to test, what they teach me and things like that. But I think it's been a great ride overall.
Throughout their 4 years, each player created special bonds with their teammates.
Jay Goss, because he's the guy that I came in with. Emmanuel Butler. We be competing every day in practice. Jay Cook, that's my guy since day one.
For every athlete, there's always that one play in your career that you will always remember.
We're going for 2 over here, and we stopped them, and there's a big crowd, and we stopped them. Game was over. We won the game, so that was real good. First time I've ever defense been on the field, and we actually won the game. I feel like that will be with me, you know, forever, and I'll never forget that.
So now leaves the question, what's next for the Lumberjack seniors?
Trying to go to Canada to play football out there, professional football. But, you know, football isn't everlasting, so I'm going to try to put my degree to work, which is criminal justice.
The seniors want to leave a legacy in words for future Lumberjacks.
I want to see the team come together, got the athletes to do it, you know, coaches to hold the players more accountable. Really, you know, those are the biggest things I would say that help turn this program around.
For the Overtime, I'm Michaela Palladino.
Thanks for that, Michaela. Now, one senior we did not mention is star receiver Emmanuel Butler. His NAU career has given him a real shot at the pros. Our reporter Lauren Hunt caught up with him and has the story.
Emmanuel Butler, one of the greatest wide receivers to wear a Lumberjack uniform, surprisingly did not have any offers coming out of high school, except for one.
NAU was the only school to take a chance on me, take a chance on allowing me to further my education and play the sport that I love. So for them, for that, I'll always have love for them, always be thankful for them. And I feel like throughout my 5 years here, I've had nothing less of an awesome experience.
Throughout his career at NAU, Butler has shown his fans many memorable moments, but one he will never forget.
Beating UTEP was pretty awesome. It was my first time beating an FBS school since I've been here. So in the program history that I've been here, it was my first time beating an FBS school. It was an awesome feeling, you know what I mean? So there was nothing like that. That was an awesome feeling.
From the moment that they met, Butler and quarterback Case Cookus created an unbreakable bond that can be seen on and off the field.
You know, first off, it felt like we had that immediate connection, and you know, I've said that so many times now, but it's probably because of how good that guy is. You know, I think anyone can have connection with that guy. He can go up and catch the ball wherever you put that thing.
Throughout the years, our relationship has grown tremendously.
We've both gone through some heartache and some injuries together, and I think that also brought us closer together. I think we both understand what we've gone through, and I know he's been through a lot, and I've been through a lot.
Not only have his teammates loved working with him, but so has his offensive coordinator, Aaron Pflugrad.
Yeah, I've been pretty fortunate. You know, this was my first full-time job up here at NAU after being a GA, and having him and Elijah Marks as first wide receivers, it was a great duo there. But having the opportunity to develop him and just seeing him grow over the years has been great as a coach, and that's why you do what you do.
Not only are his current coaches pleased with his performance, NFL scouts are also checking him out. But that hasn't changed the way Butler approaches the game.
I really feel pressured. I kind of honestly think about it the same way that I did when I was in high school and we had a whole bunch of scouts. It's like the same. Scouts just come, watch you practice, so there's no real pressure. All you're doing is playing football just like you always do.
As his NAU football career comes to an end, it's really only the beginning to the rest of his life.
The next couple months will be really telling for him, and he's going to have an opportunity to do some, combines or pro days and all-star games, and he's going to see where he stacks up.
I know he's going to do great things on whatever he does, whether that's in the NFL, Canada, across seas, whatever he wants to do, he's going to do awesome at it. Doesn't even matter if he's playing football. That guy, he's a great young man, and it was an honor to play with him.
Heading into his last game, Butler has a few final words to go out by.
You always want to finish strong. You never want to go out sad, as Migos would say. So we gotta get the W.
For the Overtime, I'm Lauren Hunt.
Thanks to Lauren and Butler. Now looking at last week, NAU did not play as they were supposed to take on the Hornets from Sacramento State. This game was canceled due to the poor air quality. As you see in that picture, look at all that smoke from those raging fires in California. But does this have an extra week of benefit, or does this hurt the Jacks?
Well, taking a week off can really help or hurt a team, Ryan. It gives them some time to really relax and make sure that the players are at 100%, but it can also do some damage. Not having the momentum from previous weeks headed into the next week almost makes the team feel relaxed. As long as the Jacks take a break and take the time to heal and come out strong, then they can finish their season with a win against North Dakota.
Well, North Dakota did play last week, and they got the dub against Portland State. They won 17-10, and here's a review of their season so far. The Fighting Hawks are 6-4 on the season and suffered from a tough schedule, playing teams like number 9 Washington, number 5 Sam Houston State, and some ranked Big Sky opponents. They did beat some ranked opponents in their season with their run-heavy offense, and they have 5 players with over 500 rushing yards on the season, and their red zone offense has been near perfect. Now, North Dakota has been in playoff berth in their sights, but they need to beat NAU in order to be selected as one of the 15 at-large teams out of the 24 teams that will make this FCS playoffs. How's the chance of getting a spot?
Well, the Fighting Hawks are currently ranked 25th in the latest FCS poll. This season has a huge number of teams that have 6 wins going into the final weekend. So if the Fighting Hawks want to have a good chance at the postseason, they need to win today.
Well, let's look at this history of this matchup. Last time these two teams met was in 2016, where Lumberjacks blew a 31-17 lead in the 4th quarter. And he does lead the series, though, 4-2, and is undefeated at home. Now we look at 2016. They have.
Hello and welcome to the Arizona Wildcats post-game show. I'm Justin Spears here with Michael Lev. We are part of the Wildcaster, and well, lo and behold, the Arizona Wildcats get their first win of the Kevin Sumlin era. They beat Southern Utah 62-31 tonight. And Michael, I mean, Arizona was expected to win pretty big tonight. I thought Khalil Tate, I thought heading into tonight that he would have ran the ball a little bit more, but tonight he really showed off his arm. He had a career-high 349 passing yards and set a career high from the Foster Farms Bowl with 5 touchdowns. What did you take away from Khalil Tate's performance tonight?
Man, he looked good throwing the ball, didn't he? You know, all those deep balls that he failed to complete earlier in the season, suddenly they were dropping into his receiver's arms. I'm sure the caliber of competition had something to do with it, but man, a couple of those throws. I mean, the one to Devon Cooper where he's kind of scrambling around, stops, sets his feet, and just uncorks the ball 60-plus yards, and Cooper makes a diving catch. Then the one to Sean Poindexter, he's scrambling to the right. It's one of those scramble drill plays, right? Poindexter takes off up the sideline. He just dropped it right in his hands, in stride. And when you see those plays, you're just like, wow, you know, this guy is capable of doing so much. Why can't we see it on a more consistent basis? But you know what? Maybe tonight will be kind of that building block that he and the offense need to do this on a more regular basis.
Tonight, Laith Frick, left tackle, he returned to the lineup for Arizona. He missed the first 2 games because he was granted another year of eligibility. In result of that year, he was supposed to miss BYU, Houston. So he missed the first 2 games.
Could have used him, right?
Yes. Look, I mean, in hindsight, I mean, yeah, they could have really used him. He was back in at left tackle. And when you were talking about Khalil Tate being able to make those throws, it seemed like Khalil Tate just had a smidge more time to sit back in the pocket and allow the wide receivers to get some space. Now, again, this is against Southern Utah. How will the offensive line respond against, I mean, even next week when they start Pac-12 play against Oregon State?
Well, look, there's no doubt that they are better off with Laith Frick in the lineup than without.
Yep. Right?
I mean, he's a 4-year starter, with this being his 4th year. I mean, he's been playing since his 2nd year. I think he started 9 games that year, every game in the past 2 years. Just a super solid, reliable guy. And Kevin Sumlin said something interesting about him, I thought. He said not only does he bring experience, but he brings a little bit of attitude. And you have to have that kind of nasty streak, right, if you're an offensive line. And I don't know if they had that the first 2 weeks with a bunch of guys who had really kind of never played before.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't have the confidence of kind of having been there and done that. Laith brings that to the table. It's definitely, again, it's something that they can build on moving forward. I thought going into this game that it was going to be one where they just kind of ran it down Southern Utah's throats, and they did run the ball effectively, but really it was those big passing plays that kind of put the nail in the Thunderbirds' coffin.
And, you know, looking back at last year when Khalil Tate introduced himself to the college football world, it was explosive run plays where we didn't really see those home run balls. They emphasized it against BYU. It didn't really pan out. Houston, that's a completely other story. But tonight they were able to generate more.
They were. So here's the question,
plays.
Okay? This is kind of a conversation we were all having, kind of heading down the elevator to the post-game interviews. Will we see that running from Khalil again? You know, if the running backs are effective and the downfield passing is effective, will that open up the quarterback run game?
Yeah.
You know, I don't think they went into tonight's game really looking to do much of that. I mean, he was a little bit banged up last week, right? Finally did have one decent run tonight and then fumbled and got kind of tackled and came up limping afterward. I think at that point they're just like, you know what, let's not run Khalil. Let's have him throw the ball. I'll be interested to see if that part of his game ever comes back, because obviously he is extremely fast.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I was watching him after each one of those touchdowns, how fast he would sprint to celebrate, you know, with his teammates, and the dude is fast. There's no doubt. And you saw the acceleration on that one run. Whether we're going to see kind of what we saw last year remains to be seen.
Absolutely. Moving over to the defensive side of the ball, Michael. Arizona going into this game, they did not have a sack or turnover. Well, you can go ahead and put a check mark next to both of those because they had 2 sacks tonight. First one, Anthony Pandy. Next one went to Kylan Wilborn. And then the interception was in the 4th quarter. Jarius Wallace got an interception, which resulted in a Brandon Leone touchdown. So, sure, again, it's Southern Utah. However, adds a little bit of confidence. Like you said, it's a building block for what's to come in the Pac-12 season.
Yeah, but you know what? When we talked to Pandy after the game, he kept saying, like, we need to be more physical. Yeah. And if you watch the game tonight, that was pretty obvious. Even with the sacks and the turnover that they finally got, they still struggled to stop the run at times. As Kevin Sumlin mentioned, they still struggled to get off the field on 3rd down. You know, Southern Utah ran 98 plays in this game.
Yeah.
They possessed the ball for 37+ minutes. Now, part of that was that Arizona struck so quickly on offense. Like someone said, like he had never seen a drive chart like this, where it's like every time Arizona had the ball, they'd have it for about 2 minutes, and then Southern Utah would have these long drives moving down the field and so forth. Still need to see more from that defensive front. And I'm worried that a better quarterback will be able to kind of slice and dice this defense. You know, there were some opportunities for Southern Utah tonight, and they just weren't able to connect on them. So I would describe the defense as a work in progress. They played a ton of guys tonight, and Coach Sumlin said that was partly out of necessity and partly because, you know, some of those guys merited more playing time. We saw a lot of J.B. Brown with Justin Belknap out. We saw a lot of Jalen Harris, who I think is going to be a really good pass rusher here someday. We didn't see P.J. Johnson at all. We barely saw Jace Whitaker and Scotty Young Jr. David Coleman was looking really good. Then he got banged up. So I don't know what to make of this defense. I don't really feel that great about the defensive side of the ball, even though they were able to accomplish a couple of those things.
Yeah, you know, and like we said, it's Southern Utah. But, you know, Jarius Wallace, he looked great tonight. He started in place of Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles. But DFF was still able to mix in. He made some plays
that big 4th down stop near the goal line.
Exactly. But, yeah, you talk about that defensive line. You know, Justin Belknap breaking his foot before tonight's game. We don't know the status of P.J. Johnson or Derek Bowles, and you think about right there, those are 3 of Arizona's key defensive linemen.
Yeah, Bowles played in this game off the bench. He hasn't been very effective this year. He just, you know, he was kind of like one of those 3-technique penetrator types last year, and we haven't seen that explosiveness from him this year. So I wonder if something's going on with him, with an ankle or a leg or something. You know, no one talked about in the postgame. We haven't talked about yet. How about J.J. Taylor with that 84? I don't think I can ever remember a kickoff return on a squib kick.
Yeah.
But that was a really impressive play. And if they can get like one big play out of the special teams per game, I think that can make a big difference. They didn't punt tonight, by the way, too.
Wow.
Which is kind of interesting. I think the only 2 drives they didn't score. The one where J.J. fumbled, where he was kind of fighting for extra yardage, and then the drive there at the end of the game.
Yeah.
But special teams, when you're struggling on defense and you're still kind of figuring things out on offense, you can get that one big special teams play. It can make a big difference.
And that was the first kickoff return for a touchdown since 2014.
Right.
Caleb Jones.
That was on an onside kick.
Yeah.
So the last one before that was 2010. So they don't happen that often. And I've noticed too, you know, with Sean Brown, that every opposing punter is trying to hold the ball as long as they can and let their guys get downfield. Not every punter is capable of doing that. I still think we're going to see a big play from Sean Brown at some point in the kicking game. The kicking game. That's for you, Ryan Finley. I still think we're going to see that. We haven't seen it yet. But like I said, it really helps when you're trying to kind of figure things out in some other areas of the game.
One thing that we've always talked about, before this game tonight was, okay, Arizona's 0-2. Is it time to really rethink this season? A lot of people said that Arizona could even go 8-4. I know our guys over at SI, they predicted them to go 9-3 and appear in the Rose Bowl. Doesn't look like it's going to happen like that, but looking at the Pac-12 South as a whole, Arizona State, they lose to San Diego State. USC, they lose to Texas.
Colorado
looks
good, and they beat Nebraska, but Nebraska lost to Troy.
today, right?
Yeah. Utah got clobbered at home by Washington. Always a tough out. Always a tough place to play.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to go 9-3. Okay,
No.
With a 1-2 start, 9-3 is out the window. Can they go 6-6 or 7-5? It's still possible. I mean, I think the offense, based on what I saw tonight and what we saw kind of toward the end of the game against Houston, is going to be okay. The defense is a concern. They're still getting beat at the line of scrimmage way too much. It's too easy for opponents to run the ball, and if you can't stop the run, I mean, that's kind of the foundation for any good defense, right? Marcel Yates talked about that before the season. I want to get better against the run. We haven't seen it yet. We need to see it for me to have enough confidence to say that Arizona is going to be a bowl team or come close to what those preseason expectations were.
All right, well, that will do it for this Arizona Wildcats postgame show. It is Sunday morning, Michael Lev.
And there's a nice breeze in the air.
It's beautiful.
Fall is almost here, right?
It's great.
Right? Even though it was like 110 degrees today or whatever, it's coming.
Absolutely. Well, that will do it for this Arizona Wildcats postgame show. Don't forget to follow all of our content at The Wildcaster and download that free app. It's available on the App Store, Google Play. Download it. All this guy's content, everything you need about the Arizona Wildcats football team, right there on one app. For Michael, I'm Justin. Thanks for watching.
Testaverde going to throw. Has his man wide open, complete. Anderson into the end zone, touchdown.
The 1999 season began for the Jets as a quest for the organization's second ever Super Bowl appearance. Nothing less would do, as New York had a veteran head coach, brilliant defensive coordinator, and one of the top running games in the league. The defense had a mix of old and young talent, and the pair of wideouts they had were top-notch, with few teams boasting a tandem like Keyshawn Johnson and Wayne Corbett. Most importantly, a veteran quarterback who could get them the ball and presumably the Jets over the hump. So in the opening game of the season, on the opening drive, when Vinny Testaverde hit this touchdown pass to Richie Anderson, more seemed right for the New York Jets than at any time since 1968. Then this happened.
Here's Martin again, lost the football and covered it again. And holding his leg on the ground is Vinny Testaverde.
Well, the way he's beating that turf, it's not good news for the New York Jets.
Vinny knew it immediately. He had torn his Achilles. 1 quarter, season over, both for Testaverde and possibly Parcells' football team. But before anyone could get to the gloom and doom of the rest of the year, there were 3 quarters of a football game to be played today. Parcells had elected to only activate 2 quarterbacks, with Testaverde being one of them, and his full-time punter, Tom Tupa, the other. Now, in fairness, Tupa had played quarterback regularly in college, but he was a punter now. If Parcells chose to play his emergency quarterback, Rick Meyer, Tupa could no longer stay in the contest. You see the dilemma. Well, then, something crazy happened.
He made his backup quarterback, Rick Meyer, number 3.
Tupa has time, throws for the end zone, has a man, touchdown!
The punter, Tupa, was not done making plays, even showing off his mobility.
That's Tom Tupa's shoes you're looking at. Those are punter shoes. Look at that. Left foot, that looks like a slipper. The right foot is one you kick with.
Tupa rolls out, throws, has a man open. Keyshawn Johnson complete, first down and more. Midfield, knocked out of bounds inside the 35-yard line.
But the Cinderella story of the punter that could save the opener, maybe even the season, hit a little snag.
Tupa, and is going to get creamed from behind by Willie McGinnis. On the blitz, Tupa, that's a fumble. Bouncing toward the end zone, and that's a New England touchdown. Under the gun, down he goes. Willie McGinnis.
So just when the broadcast booth pushed the idea of Tupa exiting, the punter-turned-quarterback decided not to shank this opportunity.
I think it was a risk keeping Tom Tupa in there.
5 wide receivers again. Keyshawn Johnson again. He's got it. He has running room. Lawyer Malloy trying to close the distance and pushes him out of bounds. Tupa over the middle. Touchdown.
A 2-point conversion here would pull Tupa's team within 3 points. In this area, the man owned much experience. Actually, the first such experience in NFL history.
Then the last couple of years have sort of disappeared. The fake and the two-point conversion, the first of the season for the Browns, is good. Tom Tupa, the holder, and a backup quarterback.
Yeah, that was kind of awesome. But no dice on Tupa's attempt to cut the lead to 3 here. With the third quarter now coming to an end, Parcells made a fateful decision. NFL rules allowed for Tupa to stay in the game as a punter if Parcells didn't go to his emergency quarterback until the fourth quarter. So once the final period kicked off, the Tuna kicked Tupa out and inserted Meyer at quarterback. Oh boy. The offense under Meyer wasn't able to put it in the paint, so naturally, New York turned to the punter again.
So John Hall will tee this one up from 33 yards out. No, it's a fake. Tupa on the run, pulls the first down yardage. Did he get there?
No, it looks like he's short.
He didn't get there, just short.
Tough break. So that's it for this crazy 1999 opener, right? Not exactly.
On first down, he's going to throw over the middle, intercepted. Brian Cox, touchdown.
Now protecting a 1-point lead, the Jets defense stepped up again, forcing a quick Patriots punt. Meyer did the unthinkable next, though.
Meyer over the middle, popped up into the air and intercepted. Chris Slade picked off the ball, and the Patriots have the football in Jet territory.
The Pats capitalized on Meyer's mistake, moving 44 yards to set up Adam Vinatieri for a game-winning attempt.
And it's good.
Remember, that's Adam Vinatieri pre-Patriots dynasty, making field goals, winning games 18 years ago, and ending one of the craziest openers you'll ever see. And it's also the best passing effort we've seen from a punter in a long time. But this game resonated far beyond the arm or leg of Tom Tupa. During a season that many would call Bill Parcells' best ever coaching job, the Tuna benched Meyer while coaxing an incredible 8-8 record out of his team with an undrafted free agent nobody ever heard of at quarterback.
Lucas number 5, touchdown, untouched, Ray Lucas.
Had the Jets won the opener against the Patriots, New York would have been in the playoffs. Even with that loss, a catch by Wayne Corbett here could have sent Parcells' pesky squad to the postseason as well. And what had to be an exhausting, frustrating campaign for the 58-year-old head coach, Parcells decided to call it a career in coaching after the season. He took a job upstairs with the organization, knowing he had groomed the perfect replacement to coach the Jets. In an even weirder twist, the Patriots fired their head coach, despite the fact that he had taken the team to 2 straight playoff appearances in his first 2 seasons. That guy ended up doing all right.
Your Seahawks, Super Bowl 48 champions.
So that meant there was another coaching vacancy in the AFC East. Now, these two storylines met at that one spot in the universe where a press conference couldn't get any weirder.
Due to the various uncertainties surrounding my position as it relates to the team's new ownership, I've decided to resign as the head coach of the New York Jets. I have to do what I'm comfortable doing and what I feel is the right thing for Bill Belichick. Well, thank you. Hopefully this press conference will go a little better than the last one I had.
So, if Testaverde never got hurt, would the '99 Jets have made it to the Super Bowl? Would Parcells have resigned? Better yet, would Belichick have been offered the Patriots position? Who knows? As for Tupa, the punter turned would-be hero, who threw 2 touchdowns to nearly pull off the unthinkable, would throw 2 more passes the rest of his